Welcome to my PowerPoint on cards that don't see play anymore. Let's start with Corpse Taker. So Corpse Taker was a very powerful 4-drop back in the day. It came out in March of the Lich King. It saw a lot of play in March of the Lich King and in Kobolds and Catacombs with the Witchwood and, during the Boomsday Project. It had a lot of, powerful cards that existed in the game at the time that really supported it. Corpse Taker, of course, is a 4-mana 3/3 undead. Battlecry, gain taunt if your deck has a taunt minion. Repeat for Divine Shield, Lifesteal, and Wind Fury. So the reason I want to talk about this card today is not because it was a 4-mana 3/3 with taunt, Divine Shield, and Lifesteal. It's because it was a 4-mana 3/3 with taunt, Divine Shield, Lifesteal, and Wind Fury. Most classes don't have access to Wind Fury, at least they didn't back in 2017, 2018. And when they did have access, it was cards like Alakir. So typically you'd be running neutral cards to fill your Wind Fury. Cards such as Wind Fury Harpy or Stormwatcher, which are just generic 6 mana 4/5 with Wind Fury or 7 mana 4/8 with Wind Fury. These cards are terrible, but because Corpse Taker was so strong, they actually saw play. Once Ziliax came out during the Boomsday Project, it was actually a huge boon to Corpse Taker because Ziliax covered Divine Shield, Lifesteal, and Taunt for your Corpse Taker, right? So if you're a class that didn't have access to those very easily, you didn't have to run really bad neutral minions just to make your Corpse Taker really good. It kind of did depend on what kind of deck you were playing. Like if you're playing even Paladin, you still wanted Corpse Taker, so you'd have to run a Wind Fury Harpy because it is even costed. But typically you'd run Stormwatcher. It's just a lot larger of a minion. Yeah, it's +1 mana, but when you play it, it's a lot more threatening. It is an elemental, which sometimes did matter. Corpse Taker is such an iconic card from this era of Hearthstone that it's crazy that a card like this wouldn't see play in today's game. We have Brass Elemental, which is a 4-mana 3/3 with Taunt, Divine Shield, Rush, and Wind Fury, I think. I think it doesn't have Lifesteal. Or maybe, I don't remember. I haven't looked at Brass. Whatever. Brass Elemental is almost exactly Corpse Taker. In Shaman, it's an Elemental, but it's just not playable because, well, just a bundle of, not great stats and a bunch of keywords doesn't really do anything in today's game. We have Camouflage Mount, which is a 4-mana spell, give a minion +3/+3, and a random keyword, and then Death Rattle, summon a 3/3 with that keyword, and that's really strong. But that's a spell that you can use to target a minion, and it doesn't require all the setup in your deck that Corpse Taker takes. Don't get me wrong, if Corpse Taker somehow became a meta-relevant card again, I would be quite happy. I enjoy this card. It's fun to play with. It actually has a bit of deck building restriction in it that is interesting and we don't see in today's game anymore. So I would like that, but we don't, and it is a little sad. Then, at number 2, we have Bloodsail Corsair. So during, Pirate Warrior during Mean Streets and for many expansions after was really strong, really, really strong. So what Druid would do is, of course, because Druid wants to also be playing Pirates because they were incredibly strong, you would run Bloodsail Corsair. Yes, Bloodsail Corsair isn't the greatest pirate ever, right? It's a 1-mana 1/2 pirate, and then its Battlecry is remove 1 durability from your opponent's weapon. Typically, that would be pretty bad. However, because Pirate Warrior was so strong, that means Fiery War Axe was so strong. And if you played Hearthstone during early eras, Fiery War Axe is one of the best cards in the game for a long time. It's just 2-mana 3/2 weapon. No text, super simple. It dealt 6 damage for 2 mana. It was really strong. It would buff your pirates because a lot of pirates have attack synergies, so it was really good. Bloodsail Corsair, of course, would make it so typically your opponent is going to swing the Fiery War Axe the first turn they play it, and it will have 1 durability. So Bloodsail Corsair would destroy the Fiery War Axe. Corsair, also being a pirate, would pull patches from your deck, and because it's a relatively okay body, it's 1-mana 1/2 rather than a 1/1 or a 2/1, it is a better target for Mark of the Lotus than something like Bloodsail Deckhand, which is a 2/1, and you can't give it charge anyway in Druid. Bloodsail Corsair, this card has not been playable in Druid in a long, long time. This was really during that kind of Mean Streets era where you had to deal with Pirate Warrior as a token Druid, and that was kind of when it was around. And I'll be honest, I did not play in that era. This is something that I've just known about for years that we did experience. So it's fun to talk about stuff because I like to hear if you guys did play during this era and remember this happening. I've seen videos of stuff like this, don't get me wrong, but I did not get to experience it because I can't really talk more. But it's fun. It's fun to see classic cards like this that become tech options Another card that we saw that was something like this was Blood Knight, which I probably should have put in this video actually, but I didn't think of it at the time. Blood Knight was a 3-mana 3/3 with with Battlecry. Like if an enemy has Divine Shield, destroy it, gain +3/+3 like per. And that card was like instantly really good into the Giggling Inventor meta when Giggling Inventor was 5 mana when it first released during Boomsday. Anyway, let's move on to the next card. Barnes. Okay, we all know about Barnes and Priest. Do not get me wrong. But Barnes is not only a Priest card. Barnes saw play during Spell Hunter. Barnes, of course, at the time was 4 mana, now it's 5 mana. 3/4 Battlecry, summon a 1/1 copy of a random minion in your deck, and you'd always make your minion Yashara Rage Unbound, 10 mana, 10/10. At the end of your turn, put a minion from your deck into the battlefield. So you would summon a 1/1 Yashara, then that would summon the 10/10 Yashara, thus fulfilling the no longer having minions in your deck requirement for cards like Rockdalar, 7 mana 4/2 weapon, Battlecry. If your deck has no minions, fill your hand with Hunter spells. Of course, it's a legendary weapon from Kobolds and Catacombs. This was like pretty good for a while in like a Spell Hunter. Overall, Spell Hunter kind of fell off after like one expansion. Kind of really wasn't good at all after Kobolds and Catacombs, but it's still fun to talk about. Barnes, yes, it's iconic for Priest, do not get me wrong, but Barnes has been like a playable card in Hunter for years. When Yogg Saron Unleash first came out, and like we had that questline Druid meta, questline Hunter running Barnes for specifically Yogg was actually really good. I was top 500 legend with it during the time, and yeah, it wasn't that great into questline Druid specifically, but everything else in the entire meta it beat, which is really fun. It's kind of unfortunate that, you know, it lost to the best deck in the game, but it happens. What was I gonna say? So Barnes is such an iconic minion. It's really funny because if you didn't know, at the time when Barnes was nerfed, he kind of was getting cut from some big priest lists because of Vargoth had been printed, and like enough time had been around with like Vargoth in the game that people were like, yeah, this is just like way better than Barnes. Barnes just like, it gave you a bad minion to resummon from your spells. It gave you a bad hit off of your Shadow Essence. And like, yeah, okay, it gave you sometimes an early high roll, but like, just wasn't that good overall. And it started to see less and less and less play. And then they nerfed it like about the time that Barnes finally had to stop being an actually good card in Big Priest, which is really funny. They spent all this time not nerfing Barnes with people begging for it to be nerfed, and then finally nerfed it when it's too late. Barnes still does see play in like Druid as a way to get around as a way to get around the 7 mana cost of Auctioneer, Gadgetzan Auctioneer, and a way to get around things like, you know, explosive runes, zombies, snipe, etc. for Auctioneer. And it's really good at doing that. There's a reason that Auctioneer Druid has gotten so many nerfs. Yeah, let's move on. Naga Corsair. 4 mana, 5/4 pirate. Well, it wasn't a Naga at the time, but now it's a Naga pirate. Battlecry, give your weapon +1 attack. This card was genuinely really strong at one point in time. So Kingsman Rogue, if you don't know Kingsman, it's 1 mana, 1/3 weapon, always keeps enchantments, death battle shuffles into your deck. During, I want to say, like, Kobolds and Catacombs through early Roscon's Rumble era, was like one of the best decks in Wild. It had come off hot being printed in Kobolds and Catacombs and being like instantly really good into Big Priest, which at the time was like the best deck in Wild during not March of the Lich King, sorry, Knights of the Frozen Throne. I was thinking March of the Lich King. I mean, technically they're very similar, but so during Knights of the Frozen Throne, Big Priest got all these cards that added to it, made it really strong. Kingsman comes in, you ran cards like Naga Corsair, Goblin Auto Barber, 2 mana, 3/2 mech, Battlecry, give your weapon +1 attack, Tinker Sharpsword Oil, 4 mana, give your weapon +3 attack, combo, give a friendly minion +3 attack. You'd run cards like this, really bad cards by today's game for buffing your weapon. I mean, Sharpsword Oil is like 2 mana, too expensive almost. It's crazy bad. So you would do all this to buff your Kingsbane. You would play Leeching Poison, which was at the time 2 mana, give your weapon lifesteal. Now it's 1 mana, give your weapon lifesteal this turn. And you just couldn't die once you were able to build a large enough Kingsbane because you healed too much. You could just hit your face into minions. Yes, you had the 4 mana Blade Flurry, which was like the nerf version, I think, because they nerfed it really early on. Then they lowered it to 2 mana, whatever. So you had that 4-mana version of Blade Flurry. You just had so much removal, so much card draw. You played, what's it called? You played Cold Light Oracles. You would Shadow Step them, so you'd make your opponent mill cards. The deck was just like really toxic. It forced like a hyper aggro meta. I completely forgot about this card like deck forced that hyper aggro meta that existed at the time when I talked about it last time. Like I was just thinking of like, oh, it was like kind of fun to play into Big Priest. I remember that because that's what it was at first, right? But as time went on, it just got so strong. It was eventually nerfed, not even because any of these cards on the list were nerfed, because Raiding Party was printed during Roscon's Rumble and caused the Leeching Poison nerf, which killed this, like, kind of Kingsman Rogue. But it's still crazy to see a card like Naga Corsair, which is a 5-mana 5/4, give your weapon +1 attack. That's crazy. Still crazy to see that this card actually did see real play and was in a real meta deck. I like Naga Corsair. I actually really like the art. I like the idea of, like, the pirate Naga. I'm playing a One Piece D&D campaign where I'm playing a fisherman, but instead of being like a fish, I'm being a snake because it's cool. So I'm like role playing, not Naga Corsair specifically, but like a pirate Naga, and it's really awesome. It's just a cool, I don't know, it's a cool aesthetic. I like it a lot. And then we have Hench Clan Thug. So Hench Clan Thug is actually a perfect example of a hero power synergy card that doesn't mention the hero power. It's a 3-mana 3/3 Quillbore. After your hero attacks, give this minion +1/+1. It synergizes incredibly well with Baku the Moon Eater. 9-mana 7/8 Beast. Start of game, if your deck has only odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power. You might be wondering, what specifically about Baku is really good with Hench Clan Thug? Well, Rogue and Demon Hunter. Hench Clan Thug was instantly one of the best 3-drops into Odd Rogue when it first splashed onto the scene during Witchwood, the same expansion that both of these cards came out in. And Odd Rogue was very dominant for years. Odd Rogue is like a giant fan favorite deck. People have like wanted it to come back for a long time. Even when Baku was back in Standard, people tried to make it work. Obviously, it was terrible. But Hench Clan Thug, of course, you play like a 1-cost minion, typically like a pirate. You play like maybe Buccaneer, which is 1-mana 2/1, after you equip a weapon, give it +1 attack. I think it's the exact text of Buccaneer. So you would hero power with your Buccaneer. That would give you a 3/2 weapon, or just a 2/2 weapon, I guess, typically. Then you would play Hench Clan Thug on 3, and then you'd have a 3-mana 4/4 that also still got ramped by every time you would attack. You would press your hero power basically like every other turn, like trying to get all the like as much attack in from it, and you just have a ramping 3-drop. It was really good at the time. Hench Clan Thug, of course, when Odd Demon Hunter first came on the scene, like during Ashes of Outland, saw play in that deck too. They didn't have a preemptive weapon they could set up on turn 2, because, you know, Demon Hunter's hero power doesn't give them a weapon. What it does is it's instead 1 mana, gain 2 attack this turn. So Hench Clan Thug, of course, went pretty well with that. You would press the hero power button literally every turn. You would attack every turn, either with a weapon or the hero power. Sorry. So Hench Clan Thug would just, again, scale very well with early Odd Demon Hunter. Of course, as time went on, you know, these, like, Odd Rogue, Odd Demon Hunter stopped playing Hench Clan Thug, right? There's just better cards that came out, but for those early eras of these, like, odd decks, Hench Clan Thug was the king of the 3-drops. Yeah, eventually Odd Rogue got stuff like, oh gosh, what's it called? Like Volpera Scoundrel, I think it's called. It's a 3-mana 3/3 from Skull Immense Academy that just says your hero or your weapon has +2 attack. So that's it. But while it was alive, your weapon was a 4/2 weapon. And it had a 3/3, which was really good. I mean, Odd Demon Hunter has been unplayable since Ashes of Outlands, so I mean, there's not really much that you could say goes in that slot, but it's the same idea, right? But yeah, that's going to be it for me. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think down below. Do you remember playing with any of these cards? Do you think that any of these cards just could come back in the future? I think Barnes always has a chance of coming back in the future, personally, but that's just me. And yeah, I have 2 giveaways going on right now. One is for anyone. It's for a standard bundle. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel, like the video, and then leave a comment down below on any video that mentions the giveaway. Your favorite card that has been revealed so far. Mine is, I think mine's probably either Parallax Cannon or Rangari Scout. I like Naeli, don't get me wrong, but it's not my favorite card. It's a cool card, don't get me wrong. It's probably not my favorite card. Or Alien Encounters. I like those 3. I like the Discover package, don't get me wrong. or you can become a member of my channel. Becoming a member is pretty similar to a Twitch subscription. You get emotes, stuff like that. You can get a role in my Discord if you just show me proof, and it's not very expensive. I think the lowest costing option is like 99 cents. I wish I was joking. I made it really cheap because I want more emote slots, and the more people that sign up for it gives me more emote slots on YouTube, and that's fun. I don't really care if it's like technically like not efficient because, oh, I could be milking you guys for money. I don't care. If no one wants to do it, that's not a big deal, right? It's just a way for me to give back to people who want to support me, right? It gives a little kickback, and it's just really nice. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Shadows are rising again!
Darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs. And fedoras, these legends of the past know exactly what